Welcome back to Midnight Grappler Animals, home of Flub Nation. We are in the off season, which means that we're gonna be experimenting. Well, not really experimenting. We're just doing episodes that we figured we couldn't really fit into a regular season of Midnight Grappler Animals, whatever that means. So today we've got a wheel, a very mysterious wheel in front of us. Keigen can't see this wheel. Keigen, how are you today, by the way?
Secret wheel. I'm doing good. I'm just hanging out. It rained last night. So literally it rained the hours I was asleep.
Damn, that sounds like a really peaceful sleep.
I miss the rain, but it's okay. It smells good outside.
It's okay. Well, the rain this week in Toronto ended up killing the battery in my parents' van. So I'm glad that you got sleep, Keigen. I'm really glad they got a good night's sleep last night. Right, so mystery wheel. It's got several topics that it's gonna pick at random, and we're just gonna talk about it. No prep, no real, just off the cuff. All right, Keigen, give me a drum roll. Just don't tap your mic.
Can you hear this?
Kinda. You know what? We'll just go. All right, the wheel this week is choosing reading critically versus reading for fun.
You know what? This is good.
What a perfect topic for you to be here for. You know,
It's true. It's kind of yeah.
Yeah, this one has been sitting in the backlog for I want to say a year and a half.
Oof.
Yeah, so well before you got onto the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it was all leading up to this. Where do you want to start with this?
Well, I mean, you know what? We were making this list of how long the off season we were thinking it was going to be, and you tossed this one out, and I was just like, yeah, this one, there's legs to this one, I think, because that's such a whole thing. Just that concept of
just let people enjoy things.
Yeah, obviously
I think that's
I'm not going to call a single review I ever wrote work. or
are you gonna call it art?
None of this is work, right?
Is good critique art, Keigen?
I don't know. It's complicated. It's complicated. It's interesting.
It's interesting and complicated.
But sitting down to review a thing is work. It is. Mm-hmm. It is not experiencing the art in the same way, and I don't know, it's a whole thing that I think it only really matters early on when you're figuring out what writing about a thing, what writing criticism, writing a review, writing whatever, when you're figuring out what you're actually doing there. It matters when you're creating that, and then once that's all in place, once you have that foundation, then it's just you don't really, I haven't thought about this in those terms in a while. It's just part of the process. So I don't know, it's a weird thing to kind of bring back to focus after 3 or 4 years of me doing it on and off, and not really on and off, pretty consistently.
I mean, for me it would be 3 years now. Well, because I don't consider much of what I do on this podcast to be criticism. I guess there is criticism in there in parts, but this is not a comics critics podcast. You know, I'm not doing this to proselytize about what comics should be, right? I'm and I think in terms of reading critically and thinking critically about comics, it is a mode of thinking, there's a switch in my opinion, in my brain, there's a switch for me when I start to engage with things critically. But I think the other issue is that in a lot of cases, that switch is a very automatic flip. There is Like
Yeah.
subconsciously, I'll just flip that switch when I start to think about like even games. When I'm playing video games, I'm like, I'm having fun. I'm having a great time playing this, and oops, the critical part of my brain has flipped on. Now I'm starting to like think about like, whoa, does this work? Like I was playing Astro's Playroom last week. Yeah, last week. And like I was having a lot of fun. And then I think it was like the first Astrobot like cameo, like the PlayStation mascot cameo that happened. And then subconsciously that like trigger flipped. I was like, oh, what does this mean for Astrobot's relationship to the PlayStation brand? And I'm like, fuck! I was just trying to have fun.
No,
I was just trying to play the game.
Nerd. Damn it! It's so good. Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like it? Do you feel like it impedes your ability to enjoy things
So
at times?
I mean, and this is the thing. This is like the barrier of like I'm gonna say formal, and I don't mean formal in a formal sense. I mean I'm sitting down to write a thing, right? And like I agree with you that it's like I have a critical brain that just like turns on. I also think like I can turn that completely off though if I want. I've been reading the Snyder.
I was
Well,
literally about to bring that up. I was gonna say because you've been reading all that stuff for
now
like
I'm reading
a month now. Right?
Aaron Avengers, and I think I've exhausted my ability to turn that off at this point though. After the Snyder, the Thompson, the
You've
Aaron,
suppressed it for long enough.
It's taking me so long to get through this last like couple trades of his, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this.
I don't think I even made it that far in his Avengers. Like, I think I stopped. No, you know what it was? I think I stopped around the Star Brand stuff, and then I popped back in quickly for Heroes Reborn, and then I just never bothered after that.
Yeah. So I'm like in the last act, Avengers Forever, which was a reread. Maybe that was part of why my brain is just like, please, anything else. But I'm also like reading. I just did the ASM Volume 5 Masterwork, which isn't bad, but it's a chore, right? It's like I have to do this so that I can write about it, so that I can be done writing about it. And then I'm also doing like Volume 5 of Spider-Girl, the MC2 Spider-Girl, which again is good, but it's a chore, it's work. And so it's like all three of these things that are like super long, well, not super long, but like relatively lengthy, that like I have to sit down and dedicate time to, And so like, I don't know, it's a weird thing where I want to read things that I want to engage that critical brain part and like, go wild about. But I can suppress it. And then like, I don't know. I think most reviewers are like this, and it's just like, if I'm going to sit down and review about a thing, I'm either going to be like really, really mad about a particular thing or really annoyed about a particular thing in it and kind of focus in on that.
Now, do you feel like doing it for work has impacted that? Because you mentioned that, the fact that you have to review these things for work, if I guess it does affect the way that you see it as work, right? Like it is a chore because you have to do it for the sake of the review.
Yeah. I don't know. I only get Marvel things now. I only review Marvel things. When I first started, I was reviewing anything from anyone. Now I only do Marvel because I get a trade out of it. I pay shipping to get a stack of trades. Then most of them I end up getting rid of, but not the point. At least some of them I'll keep. But and so I mostly pick things that I'm actually interested in reading now. I try not to pick things that I like don't care about at all, because it's like those are the easiest ones in the world to be like, yeah, it's a 6 out of 10, whatever. Things I'm actually interested in, I will engage with more, and I will go, okay, am I actually enjoying this? I had an interest in it already, but is it good? What about it is good? Blah blah blah, whatever. So like, but it's still like, I don't know. Does it
hit on the interesting versus good versus bad versus boring element?
Yeah.
Of it?
Yeah. I mean, I do think we've slowly across like 3 years figured out that that is the axis. That's the true
Yeah.
axis of art, right? And so like everything falls somewhere on those. It's true. And so yeah, I try not to pick boring things. I want bad or interesting or good things, basically.
That is a conversation for a whole other episode. Honestly, I
It
feel like we
truly
might
is.
want to. I think we might want to switch out one of the other topics for that one.
Interesting and boring. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Maybe, but
because I mean, for me, I'm like 3 years removed from this stuff, right? Like I haven't
mhm,
written like I guess the closest thing I've written to criticism is when I reviewed those Common Writer comics that Titan put out on our Patreon at patreon.com/midnightgrappleranimals. If you dig deep enough, you can find it there. Just because I think that comic pissed me off so much that I wanted to write about it. So it was much easier
yeah,
for me to like get into the mode of like, okay, I'm gonna write about this. Like there is a force pushing me and compelling me to write about this. But like
mm,
even when I was writing criticism more frequently or more regularly, I think there definitely was a point where I'm like, am I right? Am I trying to be critical just for the
mm,
sake of being critical?
yeah,
Or am I doing this because I have something to say? And I think that also plays into the idea of like important criticism. And like we talk about
yeah.
that all the time. It's like, you know, white people love to say this is important about, you know, a random think
That's the
piece.
best.
Classic
That's the best.
Keegan post. But like, yeah, like importance, you know, like what makes a piece of criticism important, you know, and like what compels people to say that something's important?
Yeah. I think along with that, like you were saying, am I just writing something to be critical about it? Am I just being critical because I have to be in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think too, right. I think of I can't remember anything about this. There's a review I did for a comics book case a while ago, probably like 3 years ago. I can't remember the title of the book. I can't even remember the artist writer on it. It was originally in a European book though, and it starts off with a very hot girl. Okay, like
Mm.
his I can't remember. It's he worked with Tiny N on Batman.
Oh,
He's really
Guillaume
I
Marsh.
can't.
It was
Yes.
crap.
It
What
starts
was
with
the
an
book?
M. I think I could
Oh,
probably comics book
I remember
case.
this because it was a really boring book, but it was like meant to
Yeah.
be like salacious, I suppose.
I mean, he
God, what was it
so
called?
um. da, da, da.
What was it called? It was it came out in March of 2020, 2021, I think.
It's so
Uh,
it's so specific. Here, I'm looking up his.
I'll just search up
No,
Gilliam March Indies. Carmen, was that it?
yes, yes, it was Carmen. It
Yes,
was Carmen.
Carmen.
And so I read it, and like again, the whole idea of like I 100% didn't necessarily train myself to be more sensitive, but I trained myself to get mad at, at things in a book easier for the sake of a review, especially,
Mm.
right? Because it's like, how am I going to hit word count? Well, the easiest way to hit word count 9 times out of 10 is get mad.
Yeah, seething is
And
a
so,
great source of words.
yeah, and it's like in the first few pages of the book, the young lady commits suicide, and then the whole book is about like the beauty of life after that, right? And it was like, why isn't there a trigger warning on suicide? You know, for this like artist who's known for cheesecakey, like horny art, like why isn't there any discussion of the harm of suicide? And like, I don't fully disagree with that thought, right? Like, trigger warnings are fine. I don't think it really, especially in a book like this where the content, like the questionable thing happens so early on that it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But at the same time, it's like there was no need for an entire review to like focus on trigger warning for a thing that like it's fine, you know. It's
Mm.
not super graphic. It's like a very borderline case in any way, and so it's like I do think there's an incentive though, um, like obviously we talk about there's an incentive to be overly nice, and I just shove those people in the corner. I don't care. They're not part of the discussion. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in like any of the discussions of access journalism either. Like whatever. That's certainly part of it, but that's not who I'm talking about. That's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about like people who are trying to write things that are important, and we're incentivized to find a thing to have enough emotion about to try to write something important, I think. And that's one good example in like what I've done, that I was sitting down, I read that, and I was like, this is bullshit. And it's like, oh, dude, chill. You know,
I mean,
like,
we could talk about Guy's Yara floor piece, because I feel like that is like a key important. Like most of the time when I think about like important criticism, I usually think about important in quotations, largely because a lot of the criticism that folks like to say is important isn't really important. Like they use it in place of saying I like this piece of criticism a lot, but I think Guy's Yara floor piece, which I guess we'll link in the description below, that was genuinely important because it did like shift a lot of things.
Yeah,
it did.
Like, I mean, it made a difference. Like, it actually affected things.
It got us
like
in a random beef with Joel Jones. That is important.
I mean, not super random.
Not super random, but it is really funny that like
redirect.
We got the email, right? Like saying, anyways, that's for the vault. Amazing Spider-Man, Keigen. I want to talk Amazing Spider-Man because I feel like that is like a good locus for, reading critically versus reading for fun.
No, yeah, it is probably the like cornerstone book for that. If not Batman and Amazing Spider-Man, probably, because it's like those are the books that every critic should probably be reading if you're doing big two stuff. And every fan is reading both, one or the other, or both.
Because it is like the book that's very easy to hate. I think for well over 15 years now. What is it, 17 now? When did One More Day happen? 2008? That was 16 years ago.
I always think it's.
I think it was 2008
or 6.
Because I think it was the end of 2008, and then Brand New Day was like the start of 2009. Okay. So about 16 years now. It's been very easy to dunk on Amazing Spider-Man. Not to say that none of it is unwarranted, but I think it really does showcase a difference, I suppose, in like how people read Amazing Spider-Man comics. Why don't we talk about the Wells run? Because it is the most recent run as of this recording. Because you want to start with that? Because like, where do you even start with that? Like that, I mean, I feel like I've been like one of the few defenders of that run, even though I don't
particularly like it.
Well,
like it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like that's what it is. It's like yeah, it's fine.
Like I think I'm not even in a donkey way. Like I would slot it in with like
slot. Nice.
I mean, I want to compare it to Snyder Justice League and Aaron Avengers because that's what I'm choking on right now. And like the thing about that though is I'm not sure the big difference between Aaron Avengers, I think, and Wells Spider-Man is that Aaron has so much more control over what he wants to do.
Yes,
and I think
that's true.
That's the critical. That's the criticism part of how to treat Wells' run is that he just.
Why did things go wrong? Like, why did things go wrong in this very specific way? I suppose.
Yeah, and we don't even really know what editorial stuff he has had to deal with, but we know the things that he's clearly interested in.
There are small bits and pieces of it have come out over the past year or so.
But I mean, what all stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't know the whole story.
We know Nick Lowe killed Miss Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, and that order came from Kevin Feige. And then we also know, actually, no, I'm not going to mention that. That's just, again, that's just not doing anything for the Zeb Wells' marriage and his state of his marital status has no bearing on this conversation.
Liar. Liar. You get divorced and you tell me that it doesn't affect your work, okay?
I mean, okay, so can you engage with that critically though? Like, can you, like, when you're talking about like engaging with Wells's Amazing Spider-Man on a critical level, like, is that is a consideration, right? Is that a consideration?
I think it hasn't been. I don't think anybody has done that, but I think you could. I think you could. I think you know, like, they built the city as this whole concept of Matt Fraction. This is I've written one. I published one of them. Okay,
Yeah,
I can talk
you
about
published
it.
one, right?
The whole idea is like Matt Fraction has beliefs about cities and communities, and that bleeds into his work in like surprising ways, right? And that's why I wanted to do it. That's why I still want to do it. And I think you could do something like that with Wells, where it's like Zeb Wells was divorced a matter of time around the launch of his Spider-Man book. How does that affect it? How did that bleed into the work? I think it is there. I think it's present, and not just. I mean, like, his treatment of Peter Parker, especially, like, is there as a divorced man. I think it makes sense as a point of discussion. And like, is it mean to write about that? Sure. Maybe it's a little mean, but like,
yeah,
that comes with being an artist publicly.
See, I feel like there is also a critical way to write about that, and just a, again, plain mean way to write about that. And I think the critical way to engage with that is like what relationship the art and the artist have, and like when events in one's life, you know, like how that impacts it. But again, like, that's not the way that the average person that's reading Amazing Spider-Man is engaging with these comics, right?
And that's where I think the critical view actually aids the work in this case, right? Like, we were talking about before, I could turn off the critical part and enjoy a thing that deserves to be criticized. But like, I think there are good works where engaging the critical part of your brain helps it. And I mean, I think that's where a lot of like less popular creators gain popularity as time goes on, because the people who are continuing to read things later are typically people who are more critical, if not critics.
Right. But here's my question. Is it wrong to engage with Amazing Spider-Man critically, or do we have to acquiesce and say that this is not a book that's meant to be read critically? Like, for me, I'm having this, it's not an issue, but like I'm thinking about this when I'm reading Absolute Batman, right? Like, is this a book that I should be engaging with critically, or is this something where I have to just like, loosen up and just enjoy it for what it is, right? And I think this kind of plays into the whole like, let people enjoy things, or like, this isn't meant to be real this isn't meant to be like a fancy schmancy piece of art, like, why can't you just enjoy Deadpool versus Wolverine? Why can't you just turn your brain off, Salt? Salt, if you turned your brain off, you could have gotten to Gambit.
Honestly, like, Gambit's hilarious. So,
Gambit is hilarious. Like that yeah.
I don't think there's Deadpool and Wolverine is probably a totally different conversation. Sorry, I just had a very loud car drive by and it scared Kendra awake.
Nice.
I'm gonna wait like 3 seconds. Okay. Deadpool and Wolverine is a completely different situation though than everything else, because like, I think it's impossible. In some ways, it's the perfect discussion point for this though, because it's like, it never becomes worth it. I don't think it's better than I expected. It's better than I expected. I'll give it that. But like, as soon as you start putting in like the franchise machine part of it too, it's a sequel to Logan part of it. The like all of these other different aspects of it. I think it's just like it's really really difficult to treat critically without giving it some caveats, without like giving it something instead of just like being mad about it. Because I think if you actually are thinking of it in terms of like, is this a movie? It's so bad. It's like not. It's not a thing. It's I don't even evil art.
Evil art.
Then,
That's
you know what? Try to bring it back towards Spider-Man. Like, No Way Home. I don't feel that way about No Way Home. Do you feel that way about No Way Home? Do you feel like you could?
Like, so what was the question? Like,
do you feel like you could sit down and like critically evaluate No Way Home and like walk away from that happy?
See, it's that second part of the question. It's the second part of the question that gets me. Because the first part, of course, I absolutely could. Like, even when I reviewed it for the first time on Letterboxd, like, this is, like, right after seeing it, right? Like, I'm pretty sure my review of it says, like, do I enjoy this because, you know, it's engaging all the right... Well, let me pull up my review. No Way
I'm going to pull up mine, too. I'm actually in the process of finding mine right now.
Because, like, I was like, can I engage with this on a critical level? Or, like, okay, here. So from December 16th, 2021. So I somehow managed to watch this a day before it actually came out. Like, I think it was an advanced screening. So I said, much to think about how much of my enjoyment of this film was because of the wish/want fulfillment it provided, as opposed to the craft of the movie itself. But I generally enjoyed it quite a lot. So even then, I was like, am I okay with giving this I think I gave it a 3.5 stars back then.
Yeah.
Right?
I gave it the exact same. I'm looking for mine. Okay.
Like, am I okay with giving this a 3.5 stars without drawing the ire of like, and I think, you know what? Letterboxd is a great place for this conversation to occur, where it's like, you know, I'll give stupid movies five stars. You know, like that's not beneath me, but at the same time, you know, what am I like when I give Chef? I think I gave Chef a 4, and then I think I might have bumped it down to a 3.5 after like my 15th watch. Whereas like Kung Fu Hustle has always been a 5, no matter what no matter what time, like how many times I've seen it. Like I'll always give it a 5-star rating. And then I think like one of the top reviews for the movie is like hold on. Did I really give a lot of movies 5 stars? No shot. Oh God, Letterboxd. Okay, let me see my highest rated movies. Where's Kung Fu Hustle? It's one of the many 5-star reviews. I think reviews. Everyone. I remember like I was looking through one of the reviews on Letterboxd, and it was like the most annoying guy you know gave this will claim this is the greatest comedy ever. And like, listen, it's great. Like you don't need to. You don't need to do this, you know, like random Letterboxd user that said that. You don't need to do that. You don't like. I'll give Spider-Man 2 from 2004 a 5 stars because I feel like it, you know, like it's not because it's the greatest movie ever. Like I gave Across the Spider-Verse a 5 the first time I saw it because I saw it with friends. I saw it with family. I was having a great time. And, you know, I got caught up in the grand theatrical moment, right? Yeah. Do I regret giving it a 5 on Letterboxd when I initially watched it? No. You know, would I give it a 5 now? I don't know.
Yeah. I think about that, like the movie experience is just a different thing. That's like at least a full star. If I saw the movie in the theater, almost always. Very rarely am I like, I mean, I'm always more pleased with theater. So yeah.
It's all about the theatrical experience and the grandeur of it. But you know, like I think, well, we're kind of delving into the realm of reviews and like, what's the difference between a review and a piece of critique? But like, I think this is one of those cases where it's like, when I'm watching movies, like how critically am I thinking about them? right? Like when I
Mm-hmm.
was watching Longlegs in theaters, this year, how much was I like engaging critically? I'm like, oh, what does this mean for like orthodox horror? Like, how does this fit within the large canon of horror movies? Like what does this say about what horror movies are nowadays? Like that was going on in my head, but I also was fully enraptured by a lot of the cinematics of it, like the sound design especially. So then when
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the theater, and then like I talked about it with friends, like it was good. I liked it. And then as weeks went on, people were like, "Oh, Long Legs was overrated. Long Legs was bad." And I was like, "Oh, so." I shut up really quickly after that. But I think there is a social element too
Mm-hmm.
to
Oh,
engaging with these
absolutely.
critically, right? Like
Yeah.
like in
Well,
the case of Amazing Spider-Man, I feel like we engage with it critically because no one else is,
yeah,
right? Like there's
and
that compulsion to defend
absolutely.
it, right? Because it's like, well, if
Yeah.
I don't think about this critically, who else is going to think about it critically, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the crazy thing is, I think the fandom has fed a lot of the critics as well their
Mhm.
thing to be mad about, you know?
Mhm.
Like it's fed into it and it's incentivized the continuation of being angry about Miss Marvel dying. And that's really the only reason critics could have to be mad about this, right? And especially like the quote unquote critics that are writing today, right, all got into comics when Miss Marvel happened, right?
Yeah.
With Miss Marvel number 1 was probably like not
10
an
years
early
ago.
comic, but a favorite. It was a favorite comic of
Yeah.
people who are writing now. And so it's like it makes sense to be upset about that. I don't, and I think it's a poorly written issue also. But
Mm.
it's like it's not like everything after that's been bad. Gang War wasn't very good. I don't
Yeah.
even think I reviewed Gang War, and I've reviewed every volume, every trade.
Gang War
I've,
was definitely one of the Spider-Man arcs of all time. That much
yeah,
I'll say.
and like I like JRJR. I like all the
Yeah,
Tombstone stuff
see, a
in
lot of
this
this run
stuff.
is also like it's not just Wells's writing, but also JRJR's
Uh-huh.
art too. Where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't as good as his previous stuff, right? Like, Scott Hannon's still doing some pretty good inks. Maybe not as good as they were in 2001. Yeah, that's when. Yeah, 2001. But at the same time, it's like so. Being critical as a response to people being dumb online, I feel like is
Yeah.
one of the more exhausting ways to think critically about things. Because
Yeah.
it's like you find yourself defending things where you might, I don't know. Do you ever feel like you're softballing in that case, where it's like, yeah,
Mm.
I need to softball a bit just so I can defend this? Because if I also go as hard as I want to, people will misconstrue this as support of what they think. Um,
I so like with that sort of question, I don't know that I'm proud of any reviews I've written really. Most of the reviews I've written are like, again, I wanted the trade, right? I wanted to read the
right.
trade. A lot of them, like with Spider-Man, my whole thing with that series is it comes out so frequently that I'm reading it as it comes out. But I like don't remember it, you know. I'm reading it in
Yeah.
between a World's Finest issue and Absolute Batman or whatever, and I'm just like, whatever. I don't even really know what happened. And so I'm rereading because I want to reread, and it gives me an excuse to reread. But I do think I think I play with that line you're talking about in the Dead Math or whatever, the one where Miss Marvel dies, that trade. I think in that review I talk about like people hating this run for dumb reasons, and then how annoyed I am that now they have a good reason to hate the run,
Yeah.
right? Because like so many of the fans already didn't like the run because of
Right.
Mary Jane stuff.
This is just fuel to the fire, right? Like it
And
was
yeah,
it was
now
absolutely
it's like a
easy material
legitimate
to.
reason now
Yeah.
to dislike it. Um, and like yeah, people have just rode that legitimacy. Like I've seen people who I think have written good critical pieces just like continue to read this run and hate it. and it's just like, what a I don't.
Why are you devoting such energy to it?
And then it forces you and I, and then it doesn't force us. We are choosing to
Subliminally, subconsciously,
be crazy
we're
like us.
Pavlovian response
is to defend it. And then, like you said at the beginning, like we said at the beginning, it's fine. It's like it's an okay run. It's not. It's
not
like
groundbreaking. It's not doing anything too crazy
in terms of like books that are being published at the big two. You know, there might be a lot of things below average, but like where a book should be, it's roughly about the quality that book should be.
When you look at Marvel's output for the past year,
it's above average,
right? It is absolutely above average.
But like where comics should be, you know,
right? Like Amazing Spider-Man's also one of those books where it doesn't matter how bad it's going to be; it's always going to be in like the top 20 comics sold in a given month, like, right? Because people will read it no matter what.
Yeah, and like it's always going to have great artists on it too. Like this book has had,
it's true.
It's never had a bad issue of art, you know.
I wouldn't go that far, but
who's been on it? Are you going to say the Dragata issues? I hate you.
No, I'm not gonna. Are we specifically talking within the scope of Wells's run? Because then that makes things more difficult. Yeah. But like, there were absolutely issues in the slot years where I'm like, why did we get this? I'm not gonna call out artists here. Because I don't remember. But there were definitely issues of Slot's run where I was like, damn, is this really the best they could have gotten for Amazing Spider-Man?
Oh, yeah. You know what? You guys is Superior. You guys, in your episode of Superior, you definitely called out a couple issues that were less good. Maybe the annual, though. Annual's tough to staff.
Annuals, it's whatever.
Yeah, they don't care.
But, yeah, like, I guess that's another element of it where it's like, yeah, this is going to continue to be in the top, maybe not even top 20, top 15 comics sold in a given month. So what does that say about the people that are reading it? And does it, like, I guess the first question is, are the people that are buying it actually reading it? But, you know, suppose that they are.
Shops are who buy it. Right. So like that's we literally know if you go to your shop and you see an issue of Spider-Man, then we know that's one sale that somebody
like it doesn't even need to get into the people's hands, right? But like, for instance, at my shop, Amazing Spider-Man almost always sells out. Like there's whenever I get there, and you know this is on release day, there's usually only a couple of issues left. Out of, I believe it's like a 25 at least order, because they always get the 1 in 25 variant. So that means like at least 25 people, you know, bought Amazing Spider-Man that day. So, you know, like people are buying it, right? But are they reading it because they... Ooh, there we go. Are they reading it because they have to and they are... you know, trained to, or are they reading it because they are turning their brains off and not engaging with it critically, or are they engaging with it critically but also, you know, liking it enough to keep buying it? Like for me, I think I'm having this issue with Kamen Rider right now, like the yearly Kamen Riders. Because I'm at a point where it's like, am I watching this show because I'm watching this show, and you know it's just a thing that happens every week, and you know I tune in, or am I watching this because this is something that like I'm enjoying? Can I turn my brain off in this show about a guy who uses candies to transform, or you know like have I? Ooh, that's what it is. Like the feeling of giving up control in a way, because being critical about a piece of work, there is a control element to it, right?
Absolutely.
Where it's like, I'm not letting this. It's not even just that. Like, it's like, I am not letting this piece of media take over me. You know, like if I turn off my brain, then I let this piece of media consume me. But since I'm thinking about it critically, it has no control over me. I have control over it.
I love that. So, and I've tweeted this multiple times since I heard it in the More Civilized Age, Austin Walker Star Wars, you know, podcast. with others, Rob Zachney, Ali Akampora, Natalie Watson. They Rob Zachney actually went. I said somebody else's name a minute ago. It's Rob Zachney.
No, you said Rob Zachney.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
They during the Andor, when they were doing Andor, which is really where their like popularity exploded, because Andor is very good and they did a good job talking about it. Rob was talking about like, and he was talking about this because he didn't really get to do this with Clone Wars. To be clear, he was talking about there were moments in Andor where like they're a critical podcast. They are criticizing things. Right? He is a critic. That is his career. He's a video games critic,
right?
Primarily, and he said with very good art, as a critic, you have to not allow yourself to give into astonishment. You know, you have to put a lid on that, because maybe it's something that you are particularly interested in and it is targeting you, and you have to tap that down so that you can actually treat the art critically. But he was like, sometimes you have to give into the astonishment. Sometimes you have to let yourself give into the astonishment. And I love that, because that's really a barometer for me on something. And it's why I prefer the theater, because I think it's easier for me to give into astonishment at a theater. Yeah. No distractions, just like, this is me and this piece of art. And like, I think that's a really good barometer of like when my critical apparatus is just like no longer functioning in a good way. You know, like it's the opposite end of the turn that part of my brain off, which is like, okay, this is just affecting me personally in a way that art should.
Now, what do you consider the opposite, like the bad way, being?
I think it's something like, well, actually, you know, I'll go to Austin Walker for this. It's I talked to Salt. I think it was Salt. It might have been Salt and Surge, where Austin talked about, this was in Rebels. He was talking about Rebels, also in A More Civilized Age. He was saying, when you start to get really nerdy about a thing, when you start getting real, how it should have ended, or
we were talking about this during the Yakuza.
Oh, okay.
Because we were talking about the like, you know, if we arrange things this way, things could be a lot better. It's because the media isn't engaging you.
Yes, and so that's that direction where it's like, if it's not engaging me enough, I start being an annoying nerd. I start thinking in terms of like continuity errors and like, the ashtray wasn't there a minute ago, or the cigarette just got longer. Like, I don't notice those things if I'm engaged. If I'm bored, if it's boring me, then I start noticing that stuff. Like in Spider-Man, actually, Amazing Spider-Man, people notice the sweater changing colors between flashbacks. Do you remember that? It's like,
I do remember that.
You are not reading this thing. You are not noticing that unless you are like deathly bored. And like, that's good. Criticize it on those ways, but like, the color of the sweater doesn't actually matter. What matters is you're not being engaged by this thing, and that's fine. You're not being engaged. You should figure out why it's not engaging you, right? You should figure out why Mary Jane not being married, Peter Parker, matters so much.
Is that because they're not engaged, or is it because they're trying to pick out as many things, you know, that are wrong about it as they can?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good explanation too. But I think I only notice that stuff when I'm bored.
I guess even that is like
more what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like it is not engaging you, right? Like even when you do things out of a sense of rage, you know, it's because it's not engaging you in the way that you want to be engaged, right? Like when people start getting into that mindset of like picking apart everything that went wrong with a thing, you know, even if it is from a place of rage, it is because, you know, like, well, this didn't engage you because, again, for some reason it didn't engage you, and you know, as a result, you are acting this way now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think our like franchise art has a more tendency to make people mad in that way. That could still engage them though. That you like, that you pulled on, and I think that's true. That it's like, the franchises just have that inherent ability to hold on to people in a way. Like a single thing is going to lose readers or whatever across its lifetime, probably. I don't know. That's probably not true. But like, still, a thing that lasts 70 years, people will continue to come back to it out of whatever faith.
Yeah,
and they could still
Pavlovian response.
Yeah, while still being annoyed, they could be engaged, and I've experienced that with Star Wars. So I think that, but I do think that that less engaging Star Wars is where I get annoyed. Also,
do you ever wonder if our podcast gets so unengaging that people start picking apart things about like,
yeah,
oh, Lan's voice is just too high pitched this week. Keigen's mic etiquette really sucks this week.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. I've listened to podcasts where I've done that. So,
I mean, I have too, and I think I've mentioned like in our group chats when. I didn't talk about. Okay, well, I'll talk about it after we record. But yeah, there are episodes where I'm like, man, this is not engaging me, so I might as well just talk.
That's
like,
real good.
Yeah, but I think, because I feel like we need to touch on this. You know, let people enjoy things, right? And because a lot of people would say that's anathemic to criticism, right? Like if you say just let people enjoy things, you're anti-critical thinking, you're anti-media literacy, right? It's and to an extent, yeah, like the let people enjoy things has engendered a culture of like not thinking about things critically. Like the media literacy epidemic is real, but at the same time, what are we supposed to do about that? Like how do you get people to be more healthy about the way that they engage with something, be it critically or even just, you know, getting enraptured by the art?
Well, and you see, anti-reading exists to save us all, and it's at the precipice of the horizon right now. We are coming upon the dawn of no. I mean, like, for one thing, I think to kind of counter that, I do think there's a lane of let people enjoy things where let people enjoy things and criticism meet, and that's like taste, right? I think. I've had multiple people that just really didn't like Absolute Batman, right? And I think that it's like it's can't think of the word right now. I mean, it's too dumb. Is what
you know? I would agree. Like my take on Absolute Batman is just that like it's dumb, but the art is nice.
So, like that's not my reaction to it at all, and I actually think that it is thoughtful in a way of like this is something that only Scott Snyder, who was given like a bastardized reboot with the New 52, and then throughout his Batman run constantly had to react to what other people were doing with Batman, right?
Right.
And I think this is like a fresh start that only Scott Snyder could do. And I think that all of the concepts there that he's tweaked just a little bit are actually thoughtful reinterpretations of Batman, right? And I've seen other people have that same take. And I think that's where that let people enjoy things and critical analysis of things meet, right? Where it's like, I completely understand why somebody would bounce off of this. I understand why somebody wouldn't want to read another Batman book by Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder also has like 1 million fans. Well, 400,000 fans at least.
According to AIPT, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, other places has
Bleeding Cool has Bleeding Cool the bastion of level-headed reported on this?
I don't know, but it's still whatever. It sold a lot. So,
but his sales a good measure of quality.
No, it's not. It's not. But like a lot of people
did Absolute Batman sell well because enough people turned their brains off?
I think it's crazy that it was able to. Like, it was crazy that many shops were able to order that amount of, because I think that's just the first printing. I didn't read it.
I think it's
I answered
across
that
the
one. The 3
printings.
printings. Well,
Yeah,
because the second
because
printing.
the first printing was actually pretty short. Like my,
Okay.
it was short. It was small enough that my comic shop owner sent out an email to all the comic shop customers, just being pissed about it, just
No.
being like, "This is," he went full tinfoil hat about it. Like he's a great guy. Love him, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but it is very easy to get tinfoil hat about the success of I mean, really any comic. Like what was it, Thundercats, that sold like 100,000 or 200,000. It's like, what?
No reason.
How did that happen? It's like
Fakest.
it's like that meme with Saruman. It's like summoning 20 million or 200,000 homunculi to buy a copy of Thundercats #1.
That's what Kamala needed.
No,
but like, anyway, just in terms of like, I understand why somebody would bounce off and stay away from Absolute Batman, but I also do see how you could critically evaluate that and like, oh, it's good. Like I understand how it exists in the whole ecosystem, and that's why I'm like, other things could too, and it's what's frustrating on like with film people. Different corners of film critics will disregard everything. Will disregard different things based on that same presumption of like the anti let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just depends, man. Like that's. I know it's an annoying response, but it's true. Like
it's it is an opposite response to what we were talking about before, where it's like the need and the compulsion to defend because a lot of people are harping on something, where too many people are enjoying Across the Spider-Verse. What this needs? It needs to be knocked down a couple pegs.
Yeah.
Here's me and my think piece about why Across the Spider-Verse was actually the bane of the animation industry.
Yeah.
Not enough people are talking about the fact that this is only half of a movie. Come on, guys.
I know. And then they'll be like, oh, Dune Part 1. Oh, and it's like, what? I think Dune Part 1 had a worse overall arc than Across the Spider-Verse did. Like, that irritated me so much. It's like a year apart from each other, 2 years apart from each other. Oh,
yeah,
so silly.
So silly. But that is what engaging with media on the internet nowadays kind of is. I mean, I feel like that's what it is. That's what it has been for decades. Like if you look at old Roger Ebert columns or like even Pauline Kael, I think it really does boil down to, are you a Roger Ebert thinker or are you a Pauline Kael thinker?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things too that I've thought about a lot. The Pauline Kael of it all, because like, I don't know. I remember in the CFC Discord, actually, a little rat bastard. I'm not even gonna say his name. A little rat. He was talking about like the only reason I write, and he's talking about comic criticism on like CBR, like comic reviews on CBR. Okay, and he was like, the only reason I write is for people to read it, and I'm like, you man. This is stupid. It was the dumbest conversation I had ever been a part of, I think.
There were quite a few dumb conversations.
Conversations. There were.
Like,
that one was so memorable bad. I hated it.
There was also the one about like, we need to write criticism to have a conversation, easy criticism. Yeah. We need to avoid easy criticism.
I'm pretty sure that became a piece in itself.
Yes, and I did link it in Studio One text. Like I linked it like a solid half hour before you even brought it up.
Go on my ass. No, but like the frustration with all of that is like I do not come at any of this. Like I have never written a thing to be read. And that isn't a thing of like I am writing low quality because I don't care about it. It's that I'm writing because I want to express something. Like that's the only reason I continue to write comic reviews at all, is because I'm like I want to put things in writing, even if it's like, it's not very polished. Like I'm not I'm not doing something that I'm like, this is high
having a
quality.
record
It's
of
just
it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And even if it's like, oh, I know my thoughts on this are going to change in 6 months, like the karma
Yeah.
review. It's like, no, this is like useful for me to be able to write about these things.
I mean, I think
I
about
don't.
that when I think about that about like the episodes that we record about like,
Yeah.
you know, even when we're doing the Superior Spider-Man episodes, you know, like, oh yeah, that
Mhm.
is technically my record of like how I feel about Superior Spider-Man 10 years down the line. Now, is that my opinion now? I don't know. You know, like
Yeah.
the tastes change, but I think it is very neat to have that sort of like snapshot, I guess,
Mhm.
of, you know, like what your thoughts were at this given point in time on this given piece.
Yeah. But then I think about how all of that relates to Pauline Kael and how she was like trying to drive culture with her criticism. And I don't think it's wrong to do that. I don't think it's bad or anything like that. I don't expect that to happen, I guess. I don't think I'm not sure there's any popular critic enough to actually do that for one. But I also think I would rather, and I know it's this is actually maybe more difficult to create, but I would almost rather just like I want the art to affect people, you know? I don't
Right.
want the reaction to the art to be the thing that drives culture. Um, and so it's like, uh, is an essay on Martin Scorsese more important than whatever movie he does? No, I don't think so. And so that's the other half of this is that it's just like you were talking about criticism being art, and it's like, yeah, criticism can be art, but like I don't think the criticism, the art criticism, is necessarily. I don't think it should be more moving than the art. Maybe I guess that depends
I
on
mean,
the art, on what we're talking about, but
sometimes criticism is about like the writer's own relationship to art. You know, like how did this
yeah,
help me, you know, understand life better, right? Like I could probably write an essay about like Perfect Days, which I, again, a 5-star movie. Uh you know, and what that taught me about, you know, how to take life in. But you know, like that is just a reaction to the art
yeah,
itself. Now, does that canonize the piece of art as important? Like I always thought about that when I was writing comics criticism, where it's like,
mm-hmm.
does writing a piece of critical work about a comic make it important? Like when you think about like the amount of
Yeah.
pieces that have been written about like Pax Americana or
Oh, All-Star Superman.
Multiversity,
Oh,
right? Like the volume of criticism about that, you know, and you know, when you think about that, when you're going to read the comic itself, right? Like when I go to read Pax Americana now, I'm thinking about that, you know, like this is a comic that has like, I would say almost up to 100 critical pieces written about it on the internet.
mm-hmm.
And, you know, like that's kind of hanging over my head every time I read Pax Americana now, right?
Yeah. No, that makes
So
sense. And I like the pieces definitely do lend to the canon. Like I don't think there's really an argument against that for sure. But I don't know. That's interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah. Do we have? I mean, we managed to get a pretty good amount. It's very easy
Yeah.
to talk about criticism. You know, like I think for me, especially as an outsider now, like I am definitely an outsider to all things comics criticism.
But if you
that
pitched
also,
CBH Dave on something right now, he'd be like, okay.
well,
Oh wait,
if
he
I
doesn't
pitch
publish
something,
that anymore.
yeah, exactly. Like if I were to pitch
Never
something with
mind.
CH Dave,
Yeah.
he would probably be like, well, I don't take those. I don't take those anymore. And if
He'd
I were
send
to
you
pitch
the
it to panel
Soul
by,
Rad.
you know, yeah. Ooh. What does it say about my dignity to have a byline at Soul Rad? I think that's an episode. I think that's an off-season episode.
I think that's an
Keigen.
episode. Yeah, that was good. You know what? It's wild that was all off the cuff.
You know,
This
no
is
prep.
a
We
barometer. Literally had no idea what it was even going to be about. So, and only two of us.
And only two of us.
Incredible.
So I think we did pretty well. This is off-season episode X that we're recording. We don't know the order that we're recording these. We don't know the order that we're even releasing these.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have Serge record each number 1 through 12. And then we're just going to put him saying the number where you said X. Just a random voice change. Yes, we're very polished. We're very ready.
Yeah. All right. I guess we are doing Tastemakers grab bags still, right? Even during the off season?
Yeah.
No? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm saying oh no, and I have no idea.
Okay. Well, before we do that, as always, this show is made possible thanks to contributions from listeners like you. If you want to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/midnightgrappleranimals. $2 a month gets you uncensored episodes a week earlier, maybe even earlier than that, depending on how negligent I am to actually upload episodes to the Spotify feed, the public feed, as I am doing right now as we're recording this. But if you want more than that, you can give us $5 a month to get our entire backlog of bonus episodes, as well as bonus exclusive series, like our recent Like a Dragon Yakuza, or earlier on we had Sentimentality and Nostalgia, both great series, all bangers. You can do that at the link in the description down below. You can also support us through morale. You can give us a good review on your podcast app of choice. Please, only a good one. Or you can give us a high review and then shit talk us. Like, you can give us a 5-star review and then shit talk us in the text of the review. We don't care. You know, like, as long as there's a review. It'd be really funny.
If you do that, I'll like you more than if you're nice. Maybe
Questions?
That's something about me.
Comments or suggestions for the show, email us at midnightgrappleranimals@gmail.com. And if you want to find the links to our Discord server, as well as our Blue Sky pages, you can find that in the description of this episode. All right, Tastemakers grab bag. Keigen, what do you got?
I'm going to steal the obvious pick.
Of course. I knew.
This is what you get for hosting. What a banger. Oh my God. I think I listened to it like 4 times yesterday at work. Just like, Mustang is so good. There's not a bar in there, and I think it's because there's 12 songs, right? With all the beef tracks, you dropped them. You got to listen to them a bunch, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I know this thing backwards and forwards, and it's like, yeah, I've listened to all of these songs 4 times, but they're also back to back to back. So there's not anything that's like standing out yet. That
there's a couple standouts like for me. I think for me,
it's just like not ingrained in me yet.
Oh, okay.
You know, in that way.
For me, it's Hey Now, Luther, Peekaboo. Crap. What else?
See, like, I don't know. Dodger Blue comes on, and I like
Dodger
TV
Blue.
off.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Elves
yes.
Good. Yes. Yeah. And like Whacked Out Murals is such a good opening track.
It really is.
An album too. Like,
I'm so glad that Squabble Up didn't just end up being another, like, track that he dropped at the, because I was so scared that he was going to do that again.
Yeah, I know. I've been singing that because like it's been a TikTok, like the trend of like there's a dance for the intro to Squabble Up, or the intro to the music video. Not Like Us. Like that would have, just based on that sound alone, it would have like tracked. It's crazy. Obviously the Squabble, like the whole thing. I love it. It's a great album. Insane. Genuinely, like it could be album of the year for me. We'll see. I don't know yet. Diaries of a Midwest Princess is pretty ingrained in my mind and my heart, but absolutely GNX, just it's gonna be, I'm gonna be working out to it on Monday for sure. That's the only one for me. I need to store up my Tastemakers grab bags for
so do I, especially if we're recording these in bulk. I really need to start spreading these out.
I'm gonna do. Well, yeah, I don't have a lot.
I gotta like create a backlog and be like, okay, I'm gonna use this one for this episode.
Yeah, use this one. Oh, just stay organized.
And so on that note, I'm gonna recommend What Remains of Edith Finch.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got the PlayStation Plus subscription for the month.
And the PlayStation 5 as well.
Yes, so I decided to use so the funny thing is, because of PlayStation Plus, I have access to both the PS4 version and the PS5 version, and I think the only difference between the PS4 version and the PS5 version is that the PS5 version has the adaptive triggers, which get really annoying in the segments where you have to like take a picture, because like your controller is just like vibrating like crazy while you're just trying to take pictures.
That's
anyways,
fun,
yeah, it depends.
But, yeah, I don't know. The adaptive triggers, clearly people trying to figure out how to use them,
It's, I have a love-hate relationship with adaptive triggers. Obviously Astrobot is the best use of them, because, that's a game where I think Insomniac and Team Asobi are two of the only teams that actually really give a shit about using the hardware and like making use of the hardware that they're given to work with. And yeah, like Astro's Playroom, like that was, like, I think I mentioned this in one of the episode that I recommended it, where like that's a game that showcases the controller, not the PS5, right? Every other game is just kind of like, yeah, it's there. Adaptive triggers are there. I wonder what this means for my controller's battery, but whatever. What Remains of Edith Finch was one of those games, but you know what? What Remains of Edith Finch was a very beautiful game. I'm glad that I finally got the chance to experience it, and it's a very short game too. I think I managed to get the platinum in it within like 3 hours. So.
Oh dang! Okay.
Yeah,
I still haven't played it.
It's a narrative game, right? Like you're getting a platinum in a narrative game is like winning chess against a dog. Like, yeah, like one of my platinums on the PlayStation 4, I believe, is for the Telltale Batman game, and it's like, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for
the buttons.
I pushed the buttons in the right order. I guess I saw all the different I don't know, the different paths. I don't even remember what again, very easy platinum. But that's not why I play these games. I'm not playing these games just to platinum them. So What Remains of Edith Finch, definitely something worth checking out.
Nice.
All right, it's just the two of us, so this should be really, really easy.
No way to mess this up.
No way to mess this up, right? As always, thank you for sticking around, listening to us yap about thinking critically about this about anything really. You want to go think critically about this podcast and what we talked about? Go ahead. If you want to turn your brain off and listen to this podcast, go ahead. But as always,
keep on grappling.
There we go. There we go.
Nice.